This video will show you how to add a map to your dashboard. A map is a type of chart. So to add a map into your dashboard, first drag a chart component from the component panel into the dashboard grid. For information on creating a dashboard, and for basic information on creating a chart, please see the other videos in this series. Resize the chart as desired by dragging on the resize handles, and move the chart into position by dragging on the move handle at the top left corner. Press the Select Chart Style button in the Data panel of the chart editor, and select the Map Type Chart. This is the option in the bottom right corner. Press the Apply button to change the chart type. Note that a map type chart has a geographic field as well as a path field. The geographic field is used to specify the dimension in the dataset that contains the geographical values such as states, cities, or zip codes. The path field is used to set an ordering for the data displayed on the map. We will not use the path field in this example. In this example, we will simply display a measure, for example, the total sales or the quantity purchased, against a map of the United States. To do this, find the geographical field in the dataset. In this case, the field is called State. Right-click on the field and select Set Geographic. Observe that the state field is now marked with a compass symbol indicating that this is a geographic field and can now be added into the geographic area in the Data panel. Drag the state field from the data source into the geographic area in the Data panel. Note that this now displays a map of the United States with the state values from the data set highlighted in a peach color. In the event that the map does not display as expected, check that the geographical level for the state field is set correctly. To do this, right-click on the state field and select Edit Geographic. Note that here you can set the type of map displayed by the chart, as well as the layer, which is the geographical level in the map to which values in the dimension, here the state field, will be mapped. Note that this particular map, the US map, has 3 levels: state, city, and zip. And we want to make sure that the values in our state field from our data source are mapped to the state layer in the US map. In the event that certain values in the dimension cannot be correctly matched to values in the geographical level of the map, you will see a question mark in this location. In that case, you can press the question mark to open the Geographic Mapping dialog box. The left panel here will show a list of dimension values that could not be correctly mapped to values in the geographical layer of the map. For example, if the state of Connecticut could not be correctly mapped, you would see that value of the dimension listed here. Click on the value to see a list of candidate matches in the right panel. You can then manually select the correct match and press the Add button. In this way, you can match up all of the values from the dimension in the dataset to values in the geographical layer of the map. Press OK when you have completed the mapping. When the mapping is completely specified, the red question mark is replaced by the green check mark that you see here. Press the Apply button to save any changes. Typically, the next thing that you would do when creating a chart is to display a measure broken out by geographical region. For example, here we could consider displaying the total state by state. To do this, drag the total field from the data set to the color region in the visual panel at the bottom. A color spectrum is assigned to represent the values in the total field. As the legend indicates, in this case, smaller values for the aggregated totals, state by state, are represented with pinker colors, and larger values for the aggregated totals on a state-by-state basis are represented by greener values. To change the colors used in the mapping, press the Edit Color button next to the color field in the visual panel. This allows you to choose from one of a set of predefined spectrums or to define a custom spectrum by setting a start color and an end color. Here, for example, we can set the start color to a white color. Press Apply to see the effects of the altered colored mapping. You can also represent a measure by using the shape property of the chart. To do this, drag the measure to the shape region in the visual panel. The aggregated measure is now represented by the amount of fill within the point associated with a given state. You can represent a measure using size, so that the size of the point now represents the aggregated measure associated with the state. Or you can use text, so that the aggregated measure is now displayed numerically on the associated state. These values can be formatted in the normal manner by selecting the value and by using the formatting buttons in the toolbar at the top, or by right-clicking on a value and selecting Format to access the Format dialog box. Please see the video on formatting data for more information about formatting. You can represent multiple measures on a map chart in the way that you ordinarily would. For example, we might consider representing the aggregated quantity purchased by using the size of a point on each state. Note that the color coding for the aggregated total field is now represented on the point associated with each state. To display the names of the states in the map, you can either right-click on the map and select Plot Properties, and then choose Show Values, or you can drag the state field from the dataset to the text region in the visual panel at the bottom. Note that map type charts have all of the same features as regular charts, such as the ability to position a legend as desired, the ability to select groups on the chart, and a set of operations that can be performed on the selected groups, such as displaying details, brushing, zooming, and so on. See the other videos in this series for basic information about chart operations. You can also create a map based on longitude and latitude data. Let's consider an example where we use longitude and latitude data to display a set of points on a map. We'll delete this map and change the dashboard to use a different data set. The map points dataset. As you can see, the map points dataset contains 3 columns, a latitude column, a longitude column, and a name column containing names describing each point represented by the particular latitude and longitude. To create a map based on this data, add a chart into the dashboard as before, change the chart type to a map type chart, right-click on the longitude column and select Set Geographic. When prompted, select the US map, and press Apply. Likewise, right-click on the latitude column, select Set Geographic, and when prompted, select the US map. Drag the longitude field into the X region in the data panel of the chart editor, and drag the latitude field into the Y region in the data panel of the chart editor. Note that this displays the set of points on the map represented by the latitudes and longitudes in these fields. To label these points, drag the name field from the dataset into the text region in the visual panel at the bottom. Consider a slightly more complex example. This dashboard uses a dataset that contains information about certain hurricanes. The information includes the name of the hurricane, the latitude and the longitude of individual measurements of the hurricane, and a number of measures recorded at each point, such as the wind speed and pressure. We would like to plot the progress of this set of hurricanes on a map. To do this, we'll open the chart editor for the chart that has already been added to the dashboard, and designate the latitude and the longitude fields as geographic fields. When prompted for the map, we can select a US map. Switch the chart style to a map type chart, and then add the longitude field into the x-axis region of the data panel, and add the latitude field into the y-axis region of the data panel. The set of latitude and longitude points are now plotted on the map of the United States. Note that for most of the hurricanes, the path lies off the east coast of the United States over the Atlantic Ocean. To distinguish the different hurricanes by their name, drag the name field from the Dimensions folder to the color region in the visual panel. Each named hurricane is now assigned a different color. We can represent the maximum wind speed by using the size of the individual points. To do this, drag the wind speed measure to the size region in the visual panel at the bottom of the editor. Finally, to connect the points for each individual hurricane, drag the name field from the dataset into the path region in the data panel of the chart editor. This will connect the points corresponding to each individual hurricane. To focus the map on the hurricanes themselves, select the hurricane data in the map and press the Zoom button in the mini toolbar at the top of the chart. To present this hurricane data on a world map instead of a US map, simply switch the map for the latitude or longitude. Right-click on the longitude field, select Edit Geographic, and change the map to World. Again, you can zoom in on the chart data by selecting the hurricane data and pressing the Zoom button in the mini toolbar. To adjust the size of the lines, press the Edit button next to the Size field in the visual panel and drag the slider to increase the max size. You will need to zoom the chart again after making this change. Note that the tooltip provides information about the individual points on each hurricane path. Note that you can filter the data in a map type chart as you would filter any chart. For example, we can filter the hurricanes by name. To do this, drag the name field into an empty region of the dashboard. This creates a selection list which you can resize and then use to select the set of hurricanes that you want to see in the chart. We could also filter by wind speed using a range slider. To do this, drag the wind speed measure into an empty region of the dashboard to create a range slider. Select a range of wind speeds to restrict the data to just that set. In addition to the built-in map types that you find in the Map menu, you can add your own custom maps. A custom map can be defined from any shapefile and could represent a segmentation of a particular geographical region, for example, counties of a particular state, or could represent any other segmentation that can be created using a shapefile, for example, the layout of a warehouse, a set of congressional districts, or any other geometrical construction. For information on creating such custom maps, please consult the documentation.